Good morning. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me for another study from God's Word. Today, we're going to be looking in the book of Matthew once again. Last week, we were in Matthew chapter 8. Last Thursday, we were in Matthew chapter 8 as it talked about the Lord as he was healing those who were sick. And there's a quotation there from Isaiah, and we talked about what that meant. Well, this week we're going to come down a little bit further in the chapter. Matthew chapter 8. Come down, he talks about the cost of following him. We also have the account of Jesus calming the storm. But then we come to the men who have the demons. And Matthew talks about two individuals. The parallel account talks about one. But regardless, there's still a lesson we can learn. Let's look in Matthew chapter 8. And let's look at verse 28. It says, when he had come to the other side, to the country of the Gergesenes, there met him two demon-possessed men coming out of the tombs, exceedingly fierce, so that no one could pass that way. And suddenly they cried out, saying, What have we to do with you, Jesus, you Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time? Now a good way off from them there was a herd of many swine feeding. And so the demons begged him, saying, If you cast us out, permit us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said to them, Go. So when they had come out, they went into the herd of swine. And suddenly the whole herd of swine ran violently down the steep place into the sea, and perished in the water. Then those who kept them fled, and they went into the city and told everything, including what had happened to the demon-possessed men. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they begged him to depart from their region. And it's that last sentence that I think is so sad. They begged the Lord to leave. They begged him to leave. And to think about the account, what we're going to consider is, why did they ask Jesus to leave? You have this picture. This is one of the well-known miracles. This is the parallel accounts. This is Legion, right? That's what this account is. And the reaction that the Lord gets from the people is they ask him to leave. Why do they ask him to leave? Let's think about a few points. One is this. You might consider they got what they wanted, right? This man, to look at the parallel accounts, he had been crying out night and day. Even in this passage, it talks about he was exceedingly violent. They had tried to restrain him, chains, shackles, and nobody could do anything with him. He would break the chains, he would break the shackles. He was crying out night and day, cutting himself in the tombs. All these things were going on. They had a problem, okay? They had a problem, and Jesus fixed their problem. He cast the demons out. He cast the demons out. And they're good. They got what they wanted. Okay, they got what they wanted. As an application, sometimes people they'll get a little bit of foxhole religion, and things will not be going well in their lives. So they start coming to church. Maybe they even obey the gospel for a time. But things start turning around in their lives, and they get what they want. They get what they want. They get, it may involve family issues, and those family issues get resolved. There may be work issues, and those work issues get resolved. There may be financial issues, and those issues start resolving themselves. They get what they want, and guess what happens? They stop coming to church then. They stop worshiping the Lord. They stop serving the Lord because they got what they wanted. That's one reason that people ask Jesus to leave. They got what they wanted, and that's all they need from Jesus. It's sad, but it happens. You might also think about Jesus was interfering with their lives. And what I'm specifically referring to is that the herd of swine, this was not a wild herd of swine, apparently, because there were those who were taking care of them. So this was some sort of enterprise. And the Lord was interfering with their livelihood. Well, sometimes that's what the Lord does, by the way. The Lord interferes with every aspect of our lives, finances included. Where a man's Where a man's treasure is, that's where his heart will be also. The Lord has a good bit to say about money, and sometimes people don't like it when the Lord starts talking about money. They think the Lord can talk about everything else, but when he starts interfering with their lives, with their pocketbook, they ask the Lord to leave. It happens. It's sad, but it happens. So as you think about why these folks asked Jesus to leave, think about those points. These points, along with the third one, you might consider they were sinning, right? We're talking about Israel, and in this time before Jesus goes to the cross, what were pigs? They were unclean animals. These individuals should not have been raising unclean animals when you consider it. They were sinning. Well, sometimes folks, they recognize that the Lord, that the Lord rebukes sin. That's what the Lord does. We sing the song, Just As I Am. We come to Jesus as we are, but that does not mean Jesus leaves us the way we are. He calls us to change, and he does not want us to keep sinning. And sometimes we just recognize that, we're sinning and the Lord's interfering with our sinning, and we don't like it. We don't like it. So we ask Jesus to leave so that we can keep on sinning. You might consider it. It might play a part in why these individuals ask the Lord to leave, because when it comes down to it, if he has power, then that means he has authority. And if he has authority over the demons, if he has the authority to say go, and the demons go, then that means he has the authority in our lives. And when the Lord tells us to go, we better go. And when he tells us to come, we better come. When he commands us, we obey. Well, sometimes folks just don't like that. They don't like someone having authority over them. And it's a sad thing, because the Lord's authority is actually for our benefit. He's the good shepherd. And in his work that he continues to do, it is for our benefit. It is also, of course, for his and the Father's glory, but it is for our benefit. His ways are much better than our ways. That's why he says, all you who are heavy laden, right? All you who are heavy laden, come to me. He says, take my yoke upon you, learn from me. You'll find a rest for your souls. You have that verse. That's what the Lord has for us. That's the promise he has for us. But in order for us to do that, we do have to take his yoke upon us and learn from him. He has authority, he has power, and he commands us to change. He commands us, he wants us to be transformed. And that happens by, of course, the power of his blood, the remission of sins, but it recognizes our free will. And if we have free will, then we can ask the Lord to leave. And that's sometimes what folks do. They just ask the Lord to leave because they don't like the power and the authority that he has. The great sadness is in that verse, to go look back at it just for a moment. Behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they begged him to depart from their region. They begged him to leave. And the next chapter begins, so he got into a boat and crossed over. They begged him to leave, and he left, is what it comes down to. How sad is that? But that's what happens. Well, what about you? What about you? Do you want Jesus to be a part of your life? Or would you prefer him to take more of a hands-off approach? Would you ask Jesus to leave, or would you invite him in? What would you do? You might consider that idea. Just a little bit of our daily bread as it is today. Hope you have a good day. I hope you tune in tomorrow for another study from God's Word. Tomorrow we are planning on talking about cremation. I had a question come in about whether or not we should be cremated. So if you're interested in that, hope you tune in tomorrow for that. But I hope this study has been beneficial for you. Hope you have a good day. God bless, and hope to see you in the morning.